About the German biographers, Joachim Fest was the first. He published already in 1973 a biography of Adolf Hitler. It was the second really big, standard comprehensive work, after Bullock's work, after the word, and it was even written, a long time, not a long time, but almost 30 years before Kershaw's standard work. It is a major biography, and it was written by a person who also knew the Third Reich like in person, who is in a sort who lived in the time as a young man. He is from a middle class, or maybe a good middle class, maybe a better middle class family with a really conservative background. And as I said, he had personal experience with the Third Reich, in that he was sent to the Wehrmacht at the end in 1944. He was already like a soldier on the Western Front at the end of the war. Yes, his father, Johannes Fest, that interesting fact, he is born in the same year as Adolf Hitler, so that's quite a coincidence. His father was also a politician, an active politician in the Weimar Republic. So in the 20s and the 30s, he was really a board member of the Zentrum Party. The Zentrum Party was a conservative, we can say, really the Catholic, black party from 1918 up to 1933. He was an active, and in 1933, the Zentrum were forbidden. So first Hitler threw out the socialists and the communists from the Reichstag, and then he banned later on the so-called parties from the center, like the Zentrum, like the word itself says, Zentrum, like the center, not left nor right, and at the end also all parties on the right wings, and the NSDAP remained alone only after a month of the chancellorship from the beginning of the censorship in January 1933 from Adolf Hitler. His father was also active member from the part CDU, which was the party, which was the conservative party, which continued the Zentrum. The Zentrum was, we can call it the predecessor of the CDU, of the Christian Democratic Union, which is, we have typical persons from like Helmut Kohl or Angela Merkel now in the last decades. Fest is repeatedly cited, and practically all the authors who followed him seems to recognize his work, because we see that he is a very read, and in the German language region, he is also known as somebody who writes in really nice, literally nice, really nice German language, in a really nice language. His book, as I said, was published in 1973 and translated into many languages. And by 2006, it reached a circulation about 800,000 copies. So, and that was the success. There is also some word of critic. We have always to criticize. They say that there's no so much information in his biography. That's true. There's not so much or almost nothing about the Reich Kristallnacht, the pogrom in 1938, the first really violent experience which experienced the masses on the streets in the Third Reich. The first time the Nazis get on the street and acted violently against the Jews and against the synagogues. They burned the synagogues everywhere in Germany. It was really a brutal act, which was public. That was the first time that they were really in public active, and that was later also criticized inside the NSDAP, and they later tried to hide their violence in the background. Why? Because they had to win the war and they didn't want to have to open like opposition in their own country. And also the Nuremberg race laws, which were even before the pogrom, 1938, even before, and there were the theoretically ground, the juridical ground for the prosecution of the Jews. Also about that, we don't read so much, and the Holocaust itself. They say that Fest tried like to get a little to Germany to present Germany in a better light than it was. Yeah, that's about Joseph. Joseph. That's about the Joachim Fest biography, born in 1926 and he died 2006. We have new biography which followed, and we see a lot of biographies following in the last time. There's a difference in the last 20 years. We see a shift. We see also a shift of the society as a whole. The society as a whole in Germany and also elsewhere become increasingly distant from the time, and it's also my personal opinion that with the distance, we have not so much eyewitness, so much people who in that time were like part of the system. They are all dead. Nobody after 2000 or after 2010 was alive. So, and we have new generation coming who have really no experience with that. Even their parents don't have the experience, no direct experience with the Third Reich. And then you also get to change a little bit your view. That's the reason why in the last biographies we see also they present the Adolf Hitler, like we are speaking not about Adolf Hitler in the biography, more like a person who had connections with other persons, who had friends, who had, I don't know, who had like a human, also a human side. And before they tried to present him only as like a monster, like really a psychopath, like only from that side. And that was in the biographies before, typically. And the newer one, we see more the style that they try also to show, I don't know, the feelings they have also in the last days. And there was also a film about the last day in the bunker, which was made. And also in this film, we see that they try to show a little bit more human, more emotions and so on from these people, which was also criticized that because they have to be shown only negative, somebody says. Volker Ulrich, born in 1943, so the same year as Kershaw, is one of the two major German biographers who wrote a biography of Hitler in the last decade. So it's really new. It's 10 years ago. It came out in 2013, and the second, there were two parts of the Hitler biography published. The first part in 2013. It was like Kershaw did. The first volume, it's up to the time of the Second World War, and then he published a second part which tells the story up to the end, so to speak, the phase of the Second World War, and that he published in 2018. So a really new recent work. He is a Hanseatic historian, so from Hamburg, and above all a journalist, a longtime editor of the influential German newspaper Die Zeit. Yeah, he intends, and that's the thing they say, like positive, like new. There has to be something new. If you write a new, you cannot write the same stuff like wrote Kershaw and all the others before. He tries to examine more Hitler private life and more in detail. So we have here separate chapters also about the so-called Berghof society. That's a society in south of München on the Obersalzberg where Hitler had his residence. He had there a residence and he spent all his free time, and not only his free time, but a lot of time when he was also working, he spent there. And he spent there the time with people who surrounded him, who were more part of the gang, you can say. And he had like people who were a little bit the chosen one, and with them he had some sort of like normal relations also with his wife, or later wife, Eva Braun. Eva Braun, he had also like a quite normal relation. But this is a thing what before was not mentioned, and now Ulrich intends to examine this more in detail. The same is true for Peter Longerich, born in 1955. He's even younger, and he is one of my authors which I recommend or I like to read. He's one of the best experts on the grounds of the Holocaust. All what's about Holocaust, he is there a very well-known writer on the same level maybe as Ian Kershaw or Timothy Snyder, who are also very known on this subject. Its most important works are also biographies of Joseph Goebbels, the propaganda minister, or Heinrich Himmler, the Reichsführer SS, the founder and leader of the SS. Not founder, that's not true, but the leader, and who managed it and who made it big, who made the organization SS big. That was Himmler. And his Wannsee conference, about the Wannsee conference, like the Holocaust conference, we can call it also, and his Hitler biography published in 2015. Yeah, Longerich is my favorite author because he tries also to get the guys he's writing about in the biographies more from the psychological standpoint of view, also getting psychological views about his action. And for example, that's the same as in his description of the SS leader Heinrich Himmler. When you read this, you get to know the man more from inside. And this is maybe the same approach he took with Adolf Hitler. So the same, and the statement of Joachim Fest that Hitler was essentially a non-person is typically widespread for the historians before Longerich and Ulrich, we can say. So these two took both the approach of approaching him more like a human being. That is not, this will not say that they are approving it, like saying it is all right what he's done, but they want to get a more realistic picture of this guy they are writing a biography of. And I think personally that when you're writing a biography, you have to write about the person as a human, because we have also to understand why somebody's doing. Yes, we have the psychopath, we have the psychopath, and then psychopath. It's difficult to understand the psychopath, but not everybody was a psychopath. Even Adolf Hitler was not 100% psychopath. That is almost very certain. Yeah, that's it.